This is the time of year when the NFL stops being about talent and it starts being about trust. Playoffs don't care what you did in September. They don't care about highlight throws, MVP odds, or what a team looked like at full health. They care about one thing: who can still function when everything gets uncomfortable. When the pocket collapses, the crowd's loud, the weather turns, and one mistake ends your season. So today, we're not going to project Super Bowls. We're not picking full brackets because injuries happen, weather happens, drama always happens. Instead, we're going to talk trust. Quarterbacks that we believe in under pressure, matchups that we can't wait to watch, and the teams that are built to survive chaos. Not that many of them. I'm joined by CB and Reggie, Giles. And before we get into our quarterback trust pyramid, I want to hear what's standing out to these guys as we head into the playoffs, because this is the part of the season where narratives get exposed. So let's open the floor. Gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, buddy. I'm out to you right now with the playoffs starting this weekend.
This jumps off the page. Okay, so buckle up. If you're not seated, take a seat. This is our first playoff in a while. No Mahomes, no Lamar.
Oh, dude, I got to say, I am floored that they are out of it. With him in it, no matter how bad they are, it just seems inevitable that somehow they'll find a way. So what a delight. Goodbye, Chiefs. Goodbye, Swifties. We can move on. Continue.
No Goff, no Burrow, no Baker. I mean, this is like, if there was a time to get in there and win as an underdog, it's now, especially for somebody like Josh Allen. He's one of the only original good old boys that is in there alone. You could say Stafford, but he's not really been a playoff guy his entire career. So this is Allen's time. He has a pretty horrible team outside of James Cook, so it's going to be tough sledding for him. But when I watch football, eye test, volume down, like Cowherd always says, there's nobody like Josh Allen. That's why I'm going to ride with them. They have the toughest game, I think. The Jags are hot as hell. Lawrence is playing really well, and you have to give credit to Liam Cohen, whether you like Lawrence or not, Griff. Liam Cohen is the linchpin that makes you a stud. We saw that with Baker. So this is a very tough week. Every game is so hard to pick. It's just like the college football games. They're all so hard to pick. I mean, there's also teams that I think, for example, I like the guy, Bo Nix. I don't see them going far. I think he's okay. He's a manager at best.
They get lucky with that first home field. When you get to play at home field all throughout the playoffs, that's a big deal, especially for a young quarterback. You're comfortable, you're in your own environment, and he's got a great quarterbacks coach. But that said, I'm also leaning towards your guys' thoughts of Bo Nix, that Bo Nix is going to do Bo Nix things. He's not going to be like, I don't see that guy having a Joe Flacco-esque playoff run, you know?
I don't think that he's a guy that, at least at this point in his career, inspires confidence. I think he's a guy that right now is doing better than you thought he would do, because he's a little reckless, but he's managing stuff well, as a pretty good defense. Sean Payton knows how to deal with quarterbacks. I mean, say what you will about the guy and his methods and stuff, but like, dude, he knows what he's doing. And he's got them in a place I don't think any of us thought they would be heading into the season.
I just don't believe in it. Okay, he did amazing things last year. I like stayed up late one night watching him throw to Marvin Mims. I just don't see it working out unless it's like, I don't know what year it was, 2014 or something, when he was the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life, Peyton Manning, when he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, when they beat the Panthers.
One of the teams that doesn't belong to be in there, aside from Bryce Young, in my opinion, is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts is
Really?
literally the same player as Russell Wilson. It actually, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
That's a
It's
good
like the
thought.
black dress, blue dress. They're the same size. Both of them are like little meatballs. They both throw deep balls and they're both slow. And they're both annoying in their own way. I can't stand Jalen Hurts. I think he's won because he's had this O line and a great running game, which I think they were the 50th best team in the league this year from a running perspective, which doesn't even exist. They were that bad
Oof.
running the ball.
I
I
did
It's to
mean,
say you're
see
not a believer.
I did
they're
see
terrible.
that a lot of people, for those fantasy gurus out there, that a lot of league losers were people who drafted two guys. One of them, Saquon Barkley. The other one was Brian Thomas for Jacksonville.
Or Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, Malik was up there too. Injuries are always that factor.
Yeah. It's not a good year. It's going to be exciting because the matchups are good. But if, like I said earlier, if there's a time to strike, the iron is red hot these
Look, man,
playoffs.
there is 3 Super Bowls combined from the quarterbacks in this, and one of them's Hurts, one of them's Stafford, and one of them is Aaron Rodgers, who just snuck in by a gray hair.
Yeah, literally by a chinny hair.
So, it's gonna be interesting. Probably the most parity we've had in the league in a long time. But you brought up quarterbacks. I think that's going to be a lot of our discussion today. Football is one of the most team-oriented sports. You got to have everything kind of go right. But the wrong quarterback at the helm, there's a reason that they get paid a lot of the money, most of the money on the team. So when you think about playoffs, we don't really think about talent as much as we think about trust. Do you trust this guy when the chips are down? Do you trust this guy with his back against the wall? You actually put together a QB pyramid for us. Not ranking ability. Okay, we're not ranking ability, but we're ranking who we trust under pressure. Oh,
Who do you trust when you have money on the line?
exactly.
Savings account is on the line. There was a gun to my head when I made this list.
Walk me through it, buddy. Tell me what's going on here.
What I've prepared for you today is a trust pyramid. That this is a tough playoff, like I mentioned earlier, but this is what I would do if my life savings were on the line. This is who I would want behind the center for my team, regardless of matchup. And we're going to start off with good old reliable Josh Allen. He's due. He's the best player in the entire league, in my opinion. He did have an MVP last year, so I'm not the only one who thinks that. Problem is, he's got some pretty bad receivers, decent tight ends, best running back in football, rushing title. Thank you, James Cook. Decent O line. Defense started out pretty horrible, but they kind of picked it up in the recent weeks. So, trust factor, regardless of the team around him, it's going to be Josh Allen. And I think we saw this when he played New England. They were underdogs, if I remember correctly. Maybe they weren't, but I'm pretty sure they were.
They were.
And they came back and won, and I think they were down like 21-zip. So he does this shit every year. He's the king. He can run, he can throw, he can put the entire team on his back, and him and James Cook, I think, are enough to do it. So Jacksonville's tough. It's in Buffalo, right?
No, it's in Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So weather's not going to be a concern. I mean, unless there's a little rain or something.
But even then, if it's rain, we're talking
A guy that plays in
more
Buffalo.
running, right? So then wouldn't it be in their favor?
Yeah, I mean, weather's not a concern for him. Maybe for the Clemson boy it would be, but either way, when it's down south like that, I like it. I'm thinking it's going to be a shootout, and I'll take Josh Allen in a shootout versus Mahomes versus Burrow. I'll take him any day of the week because he's got more tools in his tool belt than anybody. So
Hand to God, I will say the only reason I totally agree with the top of the pyramid right now. If Mahomes is healthy and they're in it, different story. But without him, this guy, he's got the most playoff wins and the most not the most playoff wins because Rodgers is still here, even though he's ancient, but of the guys of the real contenders that are still playing, he's got the most playoff wins without any Super Bowl appearances or anything like that. So he is due. Question is the team around him good enough? But I know that when his back's against the wall, I know he's ready to perform. That's still the game against the Chiefs where they went back and forth the 13 seconds. I've never seen anything like that. Never in my life have I seen anything. I don't know that we will again. That was the wildest sequence, but homie was ready to win that game and played like it, and it just freaking cheetah. And
I'll compare it to, there's a direct parallel to Josh Allen and James Cook, and it reminds me of LeBron and Kyrie Irving. And what they do, they took down the Golden State Warriors. So it can be done. Even if you have the worst team around you, it can be done. So
that was a pretty bad. That was a pretty well. I would say the 2018 team was worse for old Cleveland. But okay, let's get into the meat here of the pyramid, because you got some interesting names in here that I personally would never have seen on a second or third tier. Go ahead.
Okay, second tier. Glad you asked. So Drake May, they did have an easy schedule, sure. It's still the NFL. I don't really care. People bring that up all the time. It's the NFL. A win's a win. They have a great coach, decent O-line, good running backs, decent receivers. He is trustworthy to me because I've seen him make every single throw this year, every run. He's tough. He's not cocky. He's just kind of quiet and composed. I trust the guy. His record speaks for itself.
He's got a great record. He also has the highest yards per attempt and the best completion percentage and great metrics under pressure. So I think the only knock on him is takes maybe more sacks than they want him to. But dude, as far as a Carolina QB, shit, man, this guy is performing. I did not expect that from him coming out, but he is the truth. Much better than I thought he was.
He is. He has a nice comparison to Justin Herbert, which I totally agree with. They're both humongous. You wouldn't be able to tell unless you were standing next to him, but they're both huge. They both have cannons. I love the dude, and he's tough as nails. So
made a good point on Vrabel. I think Vrabel's a X factor, man. I think he might be.
Yes.
If he's not the best coach left, he's certainly in the discussion for it.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about you got a third tier there of guys that are as unproven as it comes when it comes to the playoff. You got Darnold, you got Lawrence, and you have Herbie, my boy. So Herbert.
My thought here was best player in the league first. Second tier is the two MVP guys, two top candidates. Probably going to Stafford because he's just impeccable at throwing the ball. I saw that he gave the three best seasons to receivers like ever with Calvin, Cooper, and now Puka. So it's like, dude, this guy's unbelievable. But
he can sling it, man.
The next row, Herbert, same thing as May, dude. I might as well just record what I just said and say it for Herbert. Tough as nails, bomb, can run, can make every single throw, composed. I trust him. He's due. He had a really bad game last year. And even though his team is down, I trust him. I didn't think they'd get into the playoffs this year because of all the injuries they had. They paid a gazillion dollars to their offensive line, and every single guy got hurt. They even had to pick up a guy from the Saints who like practice squad. So I don't even know how they're doing it, but whatever they're doing, it's because of him. So,
dude, how is this team every single year with the chart? I feel like for 20 years, it's been the most injured team of my lifetime. I don't know what's going on there.
Yep. It's got to be the field or something. I don't know what it is, but I mean, one guy blew his eye off in the offseason.
Continue.
Sammy Darnold, only player with 2 back-to-back 14-win seasons besides Tom Brady. He can move in the pocket. He can make every throw. That's why he was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school. Pretty sure he was like top 5 coming out of the draft, if not better.
He was.
Mhm.
He was.
He was just a youngin'. He was 20 years old getting drafted.
Yeah. Yep. So say what you want about him. He did have a rough start in the NFL, but ever since he got the right coach, the right manager, and the right mentor, he's just gone above and beyond and shown me that you can trust him. And he's also tough as hell. Even though he was down versus the Rams earlier this year, like 2 picks right off the bat, he stayed composed. He came back and won the game 38-37. That showed me enough there. And he's surrounded by a team of elite talent, probably due to the fact that he's not a max salary guy. So they had money to go spend elsewhere. They draft really well. I just think it's a great program. So
What I love them in this playoff run. I really do. And it's, it's easy to love the 1 seed. That you got to play at home. Everyone knows the 12th man. That's got to be one of, if not the hardest places to play. JSN's had a monster year. They got 2 running backs that are good. They got fast corners. They got speed. They're dangerous. And their coach, defensive-minded guy. I think the 3 guys that, to me, it looks like you like a lot with like May and Herbert. They've got that coach with the defensive mindset too, and he's got that with Darnold. So that they'll be an interesting play.
yeah, I agree. It's a miracle Josh Allen's even up there because he has no coaching staff either. So
He's that good.
just goes
It's
to
crazy.
show how good he is. He's so good that they're terrible everywhere else. And the owner of the franchise said, we're going to get another stadium.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
So,
Only because this guy's got a freaking cannon.
freaking cannon. Let me go over to Trevor Lawrence.
Oh boy.
So I don't like him. I think he's already got CTEs and nutcase. He speaks like a weirdo. I would never hang out with the guy. Like never. I don't even like watching him, to be honest. But he wins games. He is big. He is tough. He's got like the same body type as May and Herbert, maybe a little skinnier, but
He is like sneaky big.
he's sneaky big and he's
Huge.
just, his mindset is like this tough guy mindset, even though I don't see him as a tough guy, but he has a great coach behind him. Therefore, I trust him. If he didn't have Liam Cohen in the season he's had, he would never be on this list, but I trust him from what I've seen this year. I mean, he's just stood in the pocket and been a freaking animal, and he's been running it a lot too. So,
Man. Well, I tell you, I talked a little bit before the pod about this, and I'm a hater, and not of Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't do anything for me. But by nature of my hater DNA, I am not a believer in you until I see you do it. And then something in my mind will be like, okay, fine, he can do it. So literally all the guys that you have listed are on that list for me because I've seen Darnold fail in the playoffs. I've seen Herbert not be Herbert in the playoffs. I've seen Trevor Lawrence do really good things and then god awful things. And that makes me wonder, have they taken that next step? You have a couple of other young guys on here. We'll see if they end up taking the leap, and Love and Williams. And Brock Purdy's interesting because he's actually been to a Super Bowl. He's actually done stuff. It's Kyle Shanahan dependent. They're another team that is always injured. And if they're not injured, they're probably going to the Super Bowl. But if they're injured, they're going to win 3 games, maybe 4. And then you have one that jumped out to me as like a damn was Hurts. And that's just because he's proven that he plays his best in the playoffs and in the pressure moments. So that's the only one that jumped out to me as like a, whoa, okay. Is there anybody on that list that you have on the bottom tier that's got a chance to jump up in a big way?
Knicks. I've seen everything I need to see with Stroud. He's got all the tools. all the tangibles and none of the intangibles. I think he's a dud. Everyone's like, "Oh, I love Stroud, dude. I know, me too." And then he always fails. When I saw him in Baltimore last year in the playoffs, it was the saddest thing. I had to turn the TV off. And they were not even a good defense. He's literally the biggest choker in the moment. I will never put a dollar behind CJ Stroud. I think he's a waste of money if they end up paying him a ton.
Can you name a good Ohio State quarterback in the NFL?
No.
I mean, you could get by with the technicality of Joe Burrow, but he's an LSU guy. I wouldn't count him as an Ohio State guy. And that's like one of those programs where it's crazy. They just really haven't had that great quarterback guy come out of there. I think he's the closest thing to it. I mean, his rookie year, he was lighting the world on fire. But I mean, this year they got rid of his left tackle, Laramie Tunsil. They blew up that offensive line. It's bad. He has no running game to help him. He's got good receivers, but he's got big body receivers that aren't that fast. And if you have no O-line, no running game, you're destined for disaster. They're lucky they got that defense in order in Houston.
Yep. Yeah. All that is fair case to defend him. I still think he's a choke artist. Hurts, I think he's fool's gold. I think he was carried. It's like the Boston Celtics last year. It's like standing behind Jason Tatum and thinking he's amazing when there is 5 other guys on the team that could start anywhere else. And I do think Jason Tatum's good. Yeah, that's not even a good parallel because Jalen Hurts is not even close to as good as Jason Tatum is comparatively, but the team-wise, it's Hurts is bad. And when you watch him this year, I don't know if you've had a chance to, Shane. It's bad. His own coach, when he goes to try to defend him, can't even really make up a lie. That's how bad it is.
I'll be honest with you. I've always thought that Sirianni has CTE, though.
Dude,
I hear a lot of backlash from Eagles fans on like the play calling and stuff that they have, but I think it's a lot due to Hurts' ability. Like he's just not like a deep ball passer.
He is limited. Yeah, he's limited. All right. So which game are you guys looking forward to seeing the most? So you have the Rams at the Panthers first, Saturday, 4:30. You got Packers Bears at 8:00 that night. Sunday, you have Bills at Jags at 1, Niners Eagles 4:30, Chargers Pats Sunday night, Texans Steelers Monday. I could give a rat about Texans Steelers. I don't care who wins that game. That is like the toilet bowl. But I'm intrigued by 2 in particular. I'm intrigued by Chargers at Pats, because if Herbert's going to take that next step, he has to do it here. The Pats don't really have much of a home field advantage, but I think that given time to prepare, Vrabel has proven he's awesome in playoffs, and it's a freaking Sunday night game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what Cowherd was saying. He goes, a night game for the playoffs in New England. You give those guys all day to get drunk. They're going to be so loud in that stadium. It's going to be insane.
It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. And Bills at Jags. I mean, I just want to see Josh Allen get to the next round. And if he gets to the next round, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. You never know. But there might be more exciting games. I'm just more interested in those 2 and seeing how they pan out, because I think some people's legacies are on the line. If Josh Allen can't win that game, all you're going to hear on Monday is like, I don't know, maybe he just can't like win, Maybe it's a him problem when clearly it's a team structure problem and the coach is not as good as people think he might be. And
he's gone if that happens.
I mean, he should be. I mean, John Harbaugh's had a better career than him, and he's gone in Baltimore because they started as Super Bowl favorites and couldn't even make the playoffs.
I hate John Harbaugh, dude. He stands there with his mouth open and he always, dude, they're like, why didn't you call a timeout? He's like, what? Oh, well, Lamar is just amazing. He's just so... Shut up, dude. You literally been you rode Ray Lewis, and now you're riding Lamar, and guess what? Your ride's over, buddy. I'm so glad he's gone. He's a dumbass.
He seems like a front office guy. He's not that decision guy that you need. Like, it seems like every year, even when they get to the playoffs, they're the number one rushing team in the NFL. Then they get to the playoffs. Let's have Lamar throw it 45 times and run it with
Yep.
Derrick
Yep.
Henry 8 times. Why even get Derrick Henry in the first place if that's what you're going to
Dude, it's a miracle he made it 18 years, and he should write all those star players a freaking thank you note for putting his kids through school and everything, because it's not because of him. He's not a McVay or a Shanahan or a Vrabel. He literally he's a waste of space. So I'm so glad he's gone, dude. I can't stand him. I like his brother, but
Jim's
the
crazy.
two games I'm most excited to watch. It's actually going to surprise you. Number one is the Steelers. I want to see Aaron Rodgers against that defense, because to me, if he does well against that defense, it's going to blow minds. And I think he will. He doesn't like to get hit. He's going to get shit off quick. I really like that game. It's scary. It's the last game of the playoffs. It's like Dallas Carter versus the Permian Panthers.
Yeah.
It is so scary to me to be a Steeler, but you also it's scary for CJ Stroud because Alex Highsmith, Keanu Benton, TJ Watt, those guys and Cameron Hayward, they're scary too. Like, this is really a good matchup, defense on defense, and then old man versus the choke artist. I think Rodgers actually comes out of this with a win.
But honestly, dude, I have watched Aaron Rodgers choke for years in the playoffs. After that Super Bowl, which was 2011, by the way, he has been the king of like, okay, I'll win the first game and then I'll lose the second game. Or, his record is something like 12-10. But if you take that Super Bowl year out, that's 4 wins. They were a wild card team. Dude, he's not good. I mean, that's not good. That's a lot of chances with like stacked teams. But who knows? Maybe he has a little renaissance here with the
I hope he
Steelers
does.
and musters. He doesn't need to muster it up for, another season. He's got just do it for this week and then see where
Dude.
it goes.
And he's got nobody with him except for 2 awesome running backs who nobody loves except for me. I love Jalen Warren and I love Kenneth Gainwell. I think they're studs.
I actually do like those guys. I think they
Yeah.
are good. I think they're underrated players.
The best letter.
My other game I'm excited for is I want to watch Hurts burn. So I want to see Purdy destroy them. I want to see McCaffrey have a highlight reel day against one of the most touted defenses because I don't even know how they went over the salary cap and got away with it.
Who knows? This Eagles team every year, it's the same thing. Like, how do they spend
Every
all the money?
player.
How do they even get it? What's going on?
How'd you do it? Every other team can't replicate it. I don't know how you guys do it. You have the best GM I've ever seen in my life.
Something fishy here.
But their offensive line is the worst in football, so I would love to see Hurts get smashed. A.J. Brown, I think, is going to have an easy matchup. I think on paper, Saquon Barkley has an easy matchup. But with that O-line, I know this defense is bad, but Salah is always sending blitzes. I can just see Hurts getting frazzled.
Well, we'll see, man. I feel like the Niners and Eagles end up playing it's like every other year in the playoffs, so I don't feel like it's like a new matchup, even though there's new guys there. Interesting, though. Yeah, what about you?
Favorite one. I can't believe you guys didn't say this because it's new. It's rare in our lifetime to have seen the Bears in the playoffs. They're a 2 seed. They're at home and they're playing all-time rival Green Bay. It's the oldest NFL rivalry. It just means that it's Caleb Williams' first shot at saying,
I agree.
hey, no, I am the number 1 pick. I'm good. And he's had that type of year. They have a lot of talent on that roster. And Ben Johnson, he's coming with something to prove. A lot of people are like, oh, how did Detroit not make the playoffs? What's going on? But was he really the mastermind behind all that? He seems to be doing great with Caleb Williams. And then the Packers, on the other hand, that's a team that was a lot of people's preseason Super Bowl favorite. And they're one of the few teams that were a preseason favorite that's actually in this, because you got the Chiefs, the Lions, the Ravens, teams like that aren't in. They're one of those teams. They somehow snuck in. They could be dangerous. That's a team that could go on our own.
I agree.
I like that match.
I like that game. And I really like Caleb Williams. He grew on me a lot.
He's He's certainly been better than I was anticipating. I thought after that first year, it was gonna be curtains for the guy. I just did not and that, happy to admit I was wrong. Um,
Me too.
Same.
so who do you think comes out? You can go ahead and predict, at least for this week. We don't need to predict Super Bowl winners or anything like that, but who's coming out on top?
All you
For that game.
Any of these games.
All right, Griff, you go first, and then I'll go.
All right. I will start off, and I'm going to try and take an easy one. I think the Rams are going to take care of business in Charlotte.
Fair enough.
I don't even want to give too much insight. I just don't think the Panthers are quite there yet. It's kind of a miracle they scrapped their way to the playoffs. There's always a
totally
team
agree.
every year that goes from worst to first in their division. They're that one. They checked it off. Good for Bryce Young. Good for their coach, but the Rams, too much star power on it.
Agreed. Rams.
Who do you want to see win the most this weekend?
Steelers.
Get a Steelers at Broncos? Sounds like a
I would
Broncos
love
fan
that.
thing. Yeah.
I would love that. I think it's a great matchup. Either way, the Broncos are screwed. I think their defense is good, but they win every game 10-3. I just don't see it.
It's going to be tough. I mean, like you said, you got to have that 2014 Denver kind of defense. I don't know if they have that.
They're good, but they're not.
I'm going to say that based on history, the Chargers are not going to survive another 2 to 3 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
that team can't do it. I think for Herbert, it's going to suck, man, because I think that the Patriots are going to win. And I think they are the better team. I think they're very well coached. I've just seen too many teams try to go up against a really tough New England team in New England under the lights in prime time and not come out the victors. It's you would have to have Mahomes chief levels.
Vrabel's really going to feel in his element with that.
For sure, dude. He's a psycho. I
But so
agree
is
with you,
Harbaugh,
Griff.
right?
I think the Packers-Bears game is going to be pretty damn interesting. You got two young guys fighting for it. The thing is, I don't think it matters really for either one of their legacies if they win or lose. I don't think it matters for the Eagles-Niners. I don't think it matters for almost any of these guys except for Allen. I think if Allen
Yeah.
loses, it's a problem for him. If he wins, it's like, all right, cool. Well, we kind of expect you to go in and do that. And then you have Bills at Patriots. I mean, that's a pretty damn good matchup the next week. So
Yeah, he's the only one without a real excuse. Herbert, you got no O-line. May, you're young. Caleb, you're young. Love, you lost Micah Parsons. Eagles, you won it last year. San Francisco, you have 3 injuries right now with Trent Williams and Pearsall. Panthers, you're going against a juggernaut, and you guys are a losing team. And Steelers, Texans, if either of them lose, no one's going to freak out.
no. I mean, they're both fine. I think the coaches are fine. I don't think anybody there is really on a hot seat. I think McDermott's probably on the hot seat.
He's hot as hell, dude.
Hot as hell. I don't think anybody else. I mean, maybe Sirianni a little.
Maybe.
All the other guys, like, I think they're fine. Jim Harbaugh is pretty new to the Chargers, and I don't think anybody was. I think maybe they were expecting playoffs, but I don't think Super Bowl yet. D'Amico Ryans, no. McVay's set. I think it's a freaking miracle that the Panthers made the playoffs. So he's not going anywhere. The Seahawks. I mean, they're intriguing. I'd be curious to see. I think you get divisional matchups next week that could be pretty interesting. And if everything goes as I'm predicting, Rams, Seahawks, you get Bills, Patriots. I think I'd rather watch that than Steelers, Broncos, or Bears, Niners, or whatever. But that's still 4 damn good games. You know what I mean? Still damn good. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break on this, and when we get back, we're going to jump into college football playoffs. How about that, Griff? It's your time, baby.
Let's go.
Be right back.
Why we do it.
All right, guys. If you're enjoying the open floor, or really any of our podcasts, they're all part of the Housecats podcast network. We got shows across sports, movies, business, and culture. there's more stuff coming this year, all under one roof. It's all built around thoughtful conversation and the best part, making people laugh. So if you like this, make sure that you're subscribed to the Housecats podcast network, wherever you listen and watch. All right, back to it. Okay, we are back. Football in general, full of parity this year at all the levels. College, especially. What a freaking year. Did not think that we'd have Indiana and Vanderbilt football on the docket, but here we are. We also have snubs. We got letdowns. We have transfer chaos. We have coaching rumors. We have a playoff that already feels like it exposed a few lies. I'm looking at you, Buckeye fans. And so let's talk about, we can rehash some of this stuff on the season, but I do want to get to the college football playoff because it is so fresh and we have two pretty awesome games set up for us. So with that, Reggie Giles is here, our resident college football expert. Let's get into it, okay? Biggest snub of the college football playoff.
You know, I really think the committee actually got it right this time, which is crazy.
Really?
And the only reason I say that is because the last team that they kind of let in that was on the bubble, they were between Miami, Notre Dame. And based on how this playoffs has played out, it's pretty clear that Miami was the right choice for that. They've been
I can't argue that.
playing.
Do you think that they...
Did you forget about Tulane and JMU?
Thank you.
That is another thing. So one of them is a guarantee because of the qualifiers. So Tulane has to get in. So then you're between JMU and Notre Dame. And this is going to kind of, a lot of controversy is behind this because a lot of people think that, oh, they're in the meeting rooms and they're talking about the playoff and they're talking about, oh, how can we make the most money? Well, if you were looking at getting the most money, you'd throw Notre Dame in that 12 slot and you'd get Oregon versus Notre Dame and you'd make
better believe
off of that. That would be just an absurd game. And JMU, they weren't bad. Check the score. They put up some points, you know. Sure, a lot of it was late and backdoor covering. But, I mean, Tulane, I do not think they were the best G5 team, but they won the American. I don't like the G5 rule, to be honest with you. I think if there's a G5 team that goes undefeated, they'll probably be ranked in the top 12, and that's how the format should be. So yes, Notre Dame, I can hear you on the snub, but you lost every big game you played in this year. The big games that you played in to start the year were Miami and Texas A&M. And yes, those are two playoff teams, but you lost both of those games. So if you're losing the playoff teams, why should you make a case to be in the playoffs? Their biggest win all year, Southern Cal, and then they've got wins over an 8-5 Pitt and an 8-5 Boise State. You know, it's not like they lit the world on fire this season.
I'm thinking out loud here. Thoughts on Texas and BYU? Couldn't they have been a better matchup with Ole Miss versus
I think Texas
Tulane?
Definitely would have been a better matchup. And Texas, towards the end of the season, proved they were a much better team than how they started. It's very tough when you start off and it's almost a make or break game for your season. You're starting off 1 versus 2 with Texas playing Ohio State to start. And you have all these expectations for Arch and all this. And they go turn around and they win their rivalry game against Texas A&M, who was undefeated, arguably the best team in the country, to go and do that. Yeah, they're definitely a better matchup than JMU.
I feel for them, but hopefully in the future it lights a fire under them and they get to perform better in the regular season and earn a spot here and leave no doubt for the voters that are putting this together. I also think that the committee, it's just weird. Why do you do 12? Why is it like first it was 6 and then 12? Like, why are we not doing 16? I mean, what's going on here? That gives you
too much sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And like, I kind of knew when they set out on this kind of bracket playoff format, like, all right, well, we'll just convert some of the bowl games into some of the playoff games. Like, that works. That's fine.
Yeah.
Still getting your money. You're still getting a lot of revenue from that. I think it's just real weird how they give some teams buys, which I think they're looking at as like a reward. But in this instance, and in pretty much every instance that we've had these buys, there's been some team that's maybe asleep at the wheel because maybe it's too much time off between the last game and this. And I also think there's too much debate over snubs. There's not more good teams than like 8 that can really, really win. But let's say you have a year where it's like, wow, there's a ton of parity. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of potential what ifs. 16, there ain't going to be more than 16. There's not going to be more than 16 teams. And that gives everybody a chance to have your conference champions in there, your G5 team or two in there, depending on, how good of a year they're having. But that eliminates all the debate over this kind of thing, because you go to 16 teams, you get your BYU, you get your Texas, you get your Notre Dame, and you get to keep a Tulane, you get to keep a JMU, and maybe throw a Penn State or whoever in there. You know what I mean? So I think it's inevitable. I don't know why they haven't gone to it yet. I feel like maybe they know something that we don't. I don't know, but just seems like the logical next choice. Speaking of, let me we'll step away from the CFP real quick, and we'll get back to it in a second. What about these top 25 lists in the preseason? Every year we pretend that these lists mean something, and every year they lie to us. Who's disappointed you the most? Give me a team.
There's a few. I'll give you 3 names and I'll go in depth on one.
Go ahead.
Obviously, my beloved South Carolina Gamecocks, pre-ranked at 13, and to not even make a bowl game, that's just brutal. And yeah, the schedule is tough, but my goodness, did they underperform and really go below expectations all across the board. It was a terrible season.
It's unfortunate.
You can say the same thing with Clemson. Clemson was preseason top 10, and they're in that opening game versus LSU, and everyone's like, oh, these two teams both look great. Both of them, like, really bad seasons, and that game looked bad on TV. Everyone was like, oh, that's bad, and everyone still thought that they were good, and then they let the season play out a little bit. But number one, obvious choice, you can't miss Penn State on this one.
Oof.
Penn State pre-ranked at number 2. This is a team that went to the college football playoff semifinal last year, just a couple plays away. They returned a lot of talent. You have a big coach. You got all this NIL, and you lose a tough game to Oregon early in the season in double overtime, and then you lose another game to UCLA at the Rose Bowl. Like, that's a major letdown. And then you lose to Northwestern. Can't do that. You can't.
No.
So I get their decision to let go of him. I don't agree with it, being that he just took you to the college football semifinal a year before. He's great with bringing in recruits. But yeah, I'd say that's by far the biggest letdown is Penn State.
What do you think it was? My impression of Franklin is he's an excellent recruiter, but not a guy that is tremendous X's and O's and not a great game day guy. I mean, there's plenty of coaches that are phenomenal recruiters, and game management might be their issue, or schematically, they're just one track mind. Like, if it doesn't work in my scheme, then I don't know what to do. What is it about him or Penn State in general?
I think you're hitting it on the nail there, where yes, he's a great recruiter. He's a great motivator. But yeah, X's and O's kind of not there. Vanilla offenses. They like to run the ball. Big Ten style is, usually a lot more pro style, where the quarterback's going under center a lot more. And I think their problem is the college football game. It's when you get into the playoffs and you're playing in the Peach Bowls and the Rose Bowls, you're playing on these nice condition fields. You're not playing a snow game or anything gross like that anymore. You know, unless you're in that first round, which that's an anomaly, right? You're playing in these perfectly catered conditions, and you've got all these athletes. You got to spread the field out. And Penn State has failed to ever get a true dual threat quarterback, someone that can really run and throw and extend plays. They like to get a bigger pocket passer type guy. Historically, that doesn't work unless it's like a one-of-one guy, like you've got like a Joe Burrow, or if you're set up like the old Alabama teams with A.J. McCarron, you've got enough guys around. But Penn State,
That's so true. Well, let's talk preseason Heisman list, because while we're at it, this was respectfully garbage. This list, there was probably about 10 guys on it. We're going to talk about the 2 of them maybe that are still, actually no, 2 of them maybe might have made the playoff. One of them's still in it, and I don't think it's the guy that anybody thought would be in it. Carson Beck. Talk to me about the list, because boy, we've seen some bad ones before. This one is not great.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you could say recent memory. I think in a long time, this is the worst Heisman year we've had, and I don't mean that in like a super funny way. Like it genuinely, like no one really stood out, took it, and grabbed it. That was like one of the few times where I'm sitting there after the Army-Navy game and trying to watch. I'm like, I genuinely don't know who's gonna win, because usually it's a clear-cut guy. Like Cam Newton's winning it. Joe Burrow's winning it. Tebow's winning it. This year is like Fernando Mendoza, Diego Pavia. And Fernando Mendoza, he's had a great season, but you look at the historical stats of these Heisman Trophy winners, his isn't remotely close to that. And yes, he won games. He did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. But man, did they miss on these preseason awards. I mean, you got Arch Manning, who he went very famous before just from his name, and he plays in a small high school league in Mississippi. Then he gets a chance to play the big boys in his first. Yeah, he started a spot game or 2 the year before for Texas, but this was his first real start as Ohio State, and he looked bad. He looked really bad. And then later that night too, Cade Klubnik for Clemson. You have him go. Everyone's all over him, like, oh, what's he gonna do? Horrible. He's just like, I don't know if you guys watched his tape from like the Carolina Clemson game the year before. He's not like a great quarterback. He doesn't have that instinct. By the time a guy has enough starts, you know what you got in him. You know, I think if you give a guy 2 years worth of college starts, you know what you got. It's his 3rd year. You're not going to take that huge progression jump usually. A lot of people thought that was going to happen with him. Garrett Nussmeier, LSU, another example of just people throwing a name on the board because they're the quarterback on a big name team that they think is going to be good. And they need that team success to kind of get there. Just didn't have it for those big name brands.
No. Well, I mean, speaking of LSU, Brian Family Kelly gets ousted, and Lane Kiffin takes over. Thoughts on that one? Interesting departure.
Situation's been bonkers from the get-go. I mean, all season long, Lane Kiffin's playing these games. When that job opened up, everyone knew it was the number 1 job. And it's one of the most crazy college coaching carousels I think we'll ever have, because you had jobs of LSU, Penn State, Florida. Those are 3 absolute tier 1 X jobs that people would jump at. And you know, a school like Florida or a school like Penn State might not get their guy is a crazy, crazy thing to think about. LSU got their guy. It was an ugly departure from Ole Miss. Pretty unique in the contract of Lane Kiffin's with LSU that he's going to get paid for every Ole Miss win in this playoff. So with Ole Miss's win over Georgia, he got a $500K bonus just for watching it on his couch.
Let's go, bud.
Which is awesome for Lane. But Lane Kiffin and him signing with LSU, I remember seeing that on my phone, and there have been very few alerts that I've gotten in my day where I'm like, oh, wow, this is big. The last time that I think I felt that was when I saw KD sign with the Warriors. I think that's how big this is, because LSU, they have all the resources. You have that rich winning tradition. You got the crazy fans. You're in the best conference. You have all these former pro guys that are just representing LSU at the highest level. If you look at the best players in the NFL, most of them are from LSU. It's pretty crazy. This is a guy who he has swag. He's not afraid to tell you how it is. He fits them perfectly. And with the new style LSU, since the Burrow regime there, it's kind of turned into, and then you have Jaden Daniels, it's this offensive prowess where it used to be back in the day, this defensive thing. So he fits their modern scheme for today's college football. And yeah, it's just a scary world out there knowing that you can have a team that is still alive in the college football playoff, a top 4 team, and you can leave them because you don't think you can win.
It's either that or he says, look, even if I can win here, I'll never get the same amount of money and resources that I would get at LSU, and I'll never get the same acclaim that I would get at an LSU. So screw it. I mean, he bounces around it more than anybody else that I've seen in recent memory, but he's also probably their best coach that they've had in my lifetime. I know Ed Orgeron won, but I think everybody is like, well, he kind of had the keys to a Ferrari there. And, he just needed to not crash it. But with even like Les Miles, that guy's just a kooky weirdo. You have Brian Kelly. I've never had any respect for. I don't think he's a good human. And
that was never a fit. Him and LSU
never a fit. I don't know why they did it.
They need a guy with confidence and swag, and that is something that Lane Kiffin, he does bring to the table. He fits it.
That he does.
And the door is wide open. LSU, year in, year out, they're going to have a top 5 recruiting class. Year in, year out, they're going to dominate the transfer portal. They have the resources there. It's going to be a loud, tough place to play. And it's an interesting college football landscape right now since Saban departed. You've only got 3 active coaches with national championships. Dabo Swinney, and we've seen Clemson kind of start to regress year after year. Got Kirby Smart at Georgia and Ryan Day at Ohio State. Those 2 aren't going away. But if you got 2 teams and it's a 12-team playoff, you got a chance every year to make something special in Baton Rouge.
It is. Like Kirby Smart, I look at, and I think that guy is a football coach who eats, sleeps, and breathes it. I look at Ryan Day, and I think he's like a science teacher. I don't look at him like he's some great football coach. I think he just fell into the right job at the right time, and
it's hard not to win there, right? That's how it seems to me. It seems like it's the easiest job in college football.
There's probably 5 to maybe 8, but definitely 5 programs that think they should be winning a national championship every year, whether it's realistic or not. And that's your LSU, your Ohio State, your Penn State for some reason, even though they haven't won since Paterno. You have Alabama, Michigan, and Bama. I mean, those schools all think that now if we don't win the championship, this is like a dock against you. And it's like, dude, only one team can win it every single year. And now with this NIL component to it, it's just it's wild, man. It's very interesting. So we're already kind of seeing transfer and coaching moves. We highlighted Lane. What's kind of the early picture of what 2026 will look like with some of these recruits that are flipping or star quarterbacks for places that are like, my coach is out, I'm out, and they're gone, like the Florida quarterback. I mean, he's at Florida State now. There's a lot of that. So what are your thoughts on that?
There's been a lot of crazy changes, and there's still a bunch of big dominoes to fall because with these 4 teams left, there's going to be guys from these teams that are going to hit the portal too.
That's true.
It's just inevitable. And ADs are in a very tough spot right now, especially with how I mentioned earlier that this was the craziest coaching carousel of all time. I think as a South Carolina fan, after a 5-7 year, that's probably a year you do tire away from your coach. I personally wouldn't. I love the guy, but that's what you would do. But in a cycle like this, you see all those open jobs. You don't want to settle for the 7th, 8th, 9th best guy available. You want to get your guy. So I think a lot of teams that stuck with their guy, it's going to help them with transfer portal retention. That said, there's a lot of teams that are having a lot of crazy turnover. And some coaching changes that I love that seem to be working out early with their commits and that they're getting along hype wise. James Franklin and Virginia Tech. He's stolen a lot of guys from Penn State already, which that's like a match made in heaven for him. You're in the ACC, weaker division. Expectations aren't super high, where every year at Penn State, this guy's getting 8 or 9 wins, which he's teetering the line of what they want. You get 8 or 9 wins every year at Virginia Tech, you're the man.
You're the man.
Right?
Exactly.
Matt Campbell at Penn State, too. I think Penn State, they found their guy in that void. This is a guy who, Matt Campbell was the coach at Iowa State, and he's been there the last few years. Iowa State, before this guy took over, not a historically good program. He's had them ranked several times in competition for Big 12 titles several times.
Yeah.
He's a good fit. He's already getting some names over. And then there's some interesting ones that I think are fun. Billy Napier, who he just didn't have a good stint at Florida. He's taken over at JMU now. And it's like, okay, he could just be the king of the group of 5 world. Yep. And then you've got another guy, too, that made a similar jump, is Brian Hartline, the famous NFL wide receiver. He's been the Ohio State wide receivers coach and co-OC there at Ohio State. He jumps to South Florida. Could be interesting to see how he does there if they get enough resources.
Speaking of crazy coaching moves, you've been following the Michigan guy?
Yes.
Sherrod.
So I actually have them on my list of the 2 coaching hires that I don't like. One is John Summerall from Tulane going to Florida. I just don't think it's going to work out. It doesn't seem like a fit to me. Tulane was kind of that they're in the American Conference, but he kind of took them over. They're already established. It's like it's kind of like if someone were to take over Boise State and do well. It's like they're already kind of set up for regular consistent success.
They kind of own that little world.
But yeah, they just hired a 66-year-old coach to replace Sherrod Moore. That whole thing, how it went down, is crazy. I mean, you go from winning a national championship to 2 years later, you're blowing everything up.
It is crazy, man. I think they're probably going for stability, and it takes a pretty special person to take over a role after controversy like that. So kudos to the 66-year-old. You're taking one for the team there, pal. Don't know how long he's going to be in that role, but God bless him.
Guy's got to bleed maize and blue to do that.
He's going to bleed it. I don't think college football crowns the most stable program anymore. I think the NIL has kind of busted that up a little bit, but the ones that can adapt the fastest and retain better than others are probably in the best position. And I honestly couldn't even tell you what Indiana football looked like. And now all of a sudden they're a number 1 seed in college football playoff.
With the Heisman Trophy winner, they just won a Rose Bowl.
Dude, like what is happening?
Basketball school.
So in some way, it is kind of nice to be able to switch it up a little bit and introduce some new schools that maybe there has been some funding there. Maybe they have had it, but we've been so used to like the same 10, 12, 15 teams. It's nice every now and again, I guess, to get a new look at it, but and not see the same, remember there was like a 4-year period, it was just Alabama and Clemson every year. And don't get me wrong, like great players and fun games to watch, but geez, always it's like the Cavs and the Warriors going back and forth. Like, all right, we know what's going to happen now. It takes a little bit of the intrigue out of the season. So with that, it's kind of interesting, but what's been the biggest, we'll get back to the college football playoff here. What's been the biggest surprise so far? Is it the Ohio State loss?
I'd have to say that Ohio State loss is probably people's biggest surprise. My favorite surprise, and what I think was the best game to watch, is Ole Miss beating Georgia. I mean, to do it without Lane Kiffin, really got to give a lot of credit to those players being able to be mentally tough, stick through that. All this like media hypes all on Lane Kiffin. Everybody's counting you out. Their quarterback, like what a story. This guy, 0-star recruit, goes Division II, wins the national championship, transfers to Ole Miss knowing he's probably going to be the backup, works his tail off, outbeats this guy. Just an incredible story, very easy to root for. He announced he's going to try and come back to Ole Miss next year if NCAA grants him a waiver eligibility. What
It
an
is pretty cool.
upset, and that's the biggest win in Ole Miss history.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. I mean, I anytime you can see somebody take down Georgia with how much of a powerhouse they've been, especially in you know, pressure-packed moments the last couple of years. When I was growing up, Georgia was not that. Georgia was like, hey, they've always got studs, but they're gonna freaking collapse when it matters most. Don't worry about it. And that's not been the case in recent years. So to take them down, since Kirby Smart has been there, I should say, they've been a really, really hard out. So it's impressive when anybody takes them down. But I think a Ole Miss team that's going through, having your coach leave on you in a under the cover of night. I think the whole thing is kind of like wild. Of the top 4 seeds, 3 of them out, and they all had buys. So it's not like they didn't have time to rest up and prepare, which tells me like, all right, maybe it's a weird year, but also maybe tempo matters and maintaining rhythm. And I think that that's something that Miami has. I think that is something that Oregon has. I think it's something that now Ole Miss has. Indiana is just kind of a wild story. They have been tested all season and still answered the bell. I'm still wrapping my head around. I'm going to be wrapping my head around this for like the next 5 years. Like I can't believe that they have a really good team.
It's unbelievable how it's out of nowhere like that. Kurt Cignetti has just blown up on the scene, and he deserves all the flowers. I mean, what he did, he's a Saban descendant, and he said, I want to leave. I want to be a head coach. Goes to IUP, somewhere that has not had traditional football success, wins, immediately starts winning there. He goes on his route, goes to JMU, wins, comes to Indiana, and he was talking in interviews the other day about him joining Indiana, and a lot of the people there that were interviewing didn't have faith that they'd even be a decent program. He's like what I do is I win, and it's just a very cool culture that he's been able to do it with a bunch of transfers, but he's done it with transfers that aren't your blue chip transfers. He's gone out and he's found his guys. He's done what works with them. And his philosophy is pretty interesting. He talks about the way that they practice and how he treats the coaching staff. He's the only coach to ever have signed an extension where all of his assistants are guaranteed bonuses based off of his contract. Like, it just speaks volumes to like the culture and what he builds. It's incredible. And to do it at a school like Indiana, no football success like ever.
It's impressive, man.
Been awesome to watch. And it's cool that they got a Shanahan there too, helping out on offense.
That is cool. That is cool. What's been the best moment for you? Maybe not best play, but best moment in the playoffs so far.
Best moment in the playoffs. I'd probably have to say, I mean, I really do love that Ole Miss Georgia game, but I don't want to rehash it. I'd have to say Miami going toe to toe with Ohio State. I mean, to take on A&M and them, those are two teams that are as close to NFL size that you can get. And to play big boy ball with them all game long, both games, that's a tough team. And it's really fun, and it's great for college football when the U is good. And it's cool to see if the U might be back.
I think it's awesome, man. The Texas A&M game, was it like 3-3? Like for the longest, just like a slugfest. I always appreciate teams that can stay in there and last, because usually any kind of sport where there's a playoff, it's not the best team that always wins. It's the team that can play the best and outlast everyone else, and absorb the pressure and continue pushing forward. I've been stunned with that. And honestly, like what I'm looking forward to the most is a Miami win so that I can see Michael Irvin treat the hash marks like they're lines of cocaine and just snort the field. That dude is
They
nuts,
hold him
man.
back like he's a bulldog. It's crazy. He's so fun.
He is a wild boy. I mean, I just think their energy is awesome. I like Cristobal a lot. He's one of these guys that also gets the same James Franklin thing where he's a great recruiter. He is on it when it comes to that stuff, but he's very rigid in schematics and doesn't really like to adapt. But to watch them come into this format and perform, it brings me back to the teams that I used to watch when I was growing up from Miami. It's just a great feeling. I love it. Now, this team's not as talented as those were, but just watching that uniform go out and perform is always a little nostalgic for me. So I'm looking forward to that matchup the most this weekend. But are you looking forward to that one more or the Indiana-Oregon game?
Yeah, I love Cristobal and the Canes. I love them. Like those are the two teams, and to me, where I love watching their kind of Cinderella run, and they both have great stories. So the storylines behind that I love, but Indiana versus Oregon, that's definitely like the best game. I mean, you've got what is the number one team until proven otherwise. They're the number one team, Indiana. And then you've got an Oregon team that just they're always so close. They just can't quite break through. But I love Dan Lanning. I love that coach. I think they're tough. They've got the talent to do it. They just gotta play a full game and really get through. So I would definitely be looking forward to that game a little bit more. I think the winner of that game probably has an edge over the other in the championship, but I think all four teams kind of have an equal chance, and it's such a cop-out answer, but I really do think these are the four best teams left, especially by the way they've played.
Well, dude, I mean, if you have a season like this where pretty much anything can happen, it's hard to pick like a clear cut, like, oh yeah, this team is definitely going to win. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. So you have the Ole Miss Miami at 7:30, and then you have the next day, you got Oregon at Indiana.
Which is weird how they decided to chop up the timing for that. That's something I've always had a problem with college football. Like, why is the championship always on a Monday? Like, they just cater to the NFL a little bit.
It is weird.
Like,
I know they're trying
Saturday's your
not to,
day.
like,
do it on Saturday.
exactly. Give them 2 weeks off or something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be some bizarre Monday scenario because it's always like Monday night and like we'll kick off at 10 o'clock. It's like, okay, who's watching this game? Jesus.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the worst. Okay. Little fun before we jump. Reggie, you big on the college football experience.
Huge.
It's why you're our resident expert here. Give me your favorite fans of the season. They don't necessarily have to be winners here, but they got to be winners here in your heart.
Definitely winners here. You mentioned one of them, Michael Irvin. I mean, what a fan. That guy, get him on every sideline pass for a Miami game. He's bringing
Inject him in my veins.
back. Oh, my goodness. One that is hilarious is Oklahoma State. They've had a tough last few years. They let go of their coach, Mike Gundy, who has some legendary pressers.
Tremendous pressers. Oh,
but I'm a man. I'm 40.
Popularized mullet. Brought it back.
Yeah. And he inspired my mullet that I got going right now. So they've had a tough year. And they're playing the University of Houston. Houston's ranked. Houston's kind of beating them up. Final score ends up being 39-17. This place is empty except for section 213 up in the bleeds. You got a bunch of bros just having their shirts off, hanging out, and it's just guys being dudes, loving their team, win or lose. They still are standing by their guys. So yeah, got to give them their flowers.
Let's go. Cowboys.
The Pokes. Go Pokes.
Incredible, man. But that was fun, dude. That was fun. I appreciate you coming on. Enjoy the games. We're going to check in afterwards. You got any predictions for the games? You think Indiana's going to?
Yeah, I'm
all
gonna
home?
take Oregon, and I'm gonna take Miami.
And who wins that game?
Give me the Canes. And the U is
Throw it up,
back.
baby. Throw it up. We're back. We're back. I really just want to see Michael Irvin take the trophy and pretend like it's his, and get on the stage with the presser for them. It's gonna be gold. All right,
He would so
amazing. Get back to your night. Love you, bro. Thank you, man.
Deuces. This is fun.
Thank you, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Next time.